Is it going? Hello and welcome to my tank museum here in Tank Mechanics Simulator. I am trying something different with the microphone. I have it set to just be on all the time rather than push to talk because I had some difficulty with my previous recording and I'm having to make it again. So bear with me if you hear any external noises. This game has consumed my life for the last few days, so I decided I wanted to come and show it off since I have filled my tank museum with tanks. So the basic thrust of this game is it's not like Car Mechanic Simulator in the sense where you're repairing stuff for people who pay you to do it. Your main objective is to collect tanks for your museum, which is what I've done here. And the way you do that is by choosing missions where you go out into the field and you locate a buried mass of metal, you dig it up, and then you pay to have it hauled away. And when you get it back here to your workshop, you then restore it so that it's nice and pretty and put it on display, or sell it if you like. This tank, the KV2 here, is the first one that I actually did that with, which is why it's here in this corner, because this is position 1. You can customize the display panels so that they have the information for the vehicle. You can customize this placard to identify it. You can also find collectibles to fit in these boxes. I don't have anything that fits in these small boxes, unfortunately. All I have found have been large machine guns. The ones with the round magazine on them are Russian. They're like PM or RT or something, I forget. The ones in the back there, these are German MG34s. And then here I have a couple of M19, 1930 caliber machine guns that came with that Pershing tank there. And so far, all of these are pretty much in the order in which I have found them. The KV2 was the first one, and you'll notice there's a gun sticking out. DT, that's what it is. There's a gun sticking out of this port. Now, if I click on that, it'll take it out, and you can't put it back, which I find annoying. I would rather have it on display in place rather than laying over there in the display case, because there should be a gun here as well, and there isn't one. This one here is the Stug 3, which is not really a tank. It began life as a mobile field gun. It was intended for attacking fortifications, and then they put like a bigger gun in it and started using it as a tank destroyer, anti-tank weapon. So it's not really a tank, it's kind of tank adjacent. This is actually the second one that I collected from the field. And these camouflage schemes are kind of apocryphal, but I decided to put them on there so that otherwise this thing is just green. Though I did match the logo and stuff on the turret as well as I could, though I made the red star bigger. And the stripy camouflage on this thing I thought just looked good on it, so I went with it. Position 3 over here is Panzer IV, and the game is heavy on German tanks, you're going to notice. This Panzer IV is like the definitive German tank from the Second World War. It should have a gun there, which it doesn't have. There should also be one there. But other than that, it's complete. Oh, and I wanted to show you this. You get close and there's a data panel there on the right that appears. You can go to the tank status menu and go to analysis, and it shows you the condition of everything and the value. So this tank is $51,000, and I think the Stug is 62 or something to that effect. $64,000 for this thing. I would imagine the German tanks would be a bit more valuable because they're rarer. There's not so many of them left laying around. This one is $93,000, and the Pershing is probably not that much. $57,000 for that. This is actually the only one of these I've seen. Then I have the T-72-85 over here. There are actually two versions of the T-34. There are actually two versions of the T-34 in here. There's also the T-34-76, which has a smaller gun than this one. And this one is worth $47,000, because I imagine there are lots of T-34s out there to be had. The Sherman tank, this one, I did have a different Panzer here. I had a Panzer III here, which I moved outside because I wanted to have a Sherman in here. And I only recently found this one. This one is worth $62,000. This one I think came with, I had a couple of 30 caliber machine guns with this one as well that I haven't placed. Then I have the big two, I guess, of my collection. This is the Panzer V Panther, and this one took me a while to find. It's very cool. This is probably my favorite single vehicle in here, and it should have a gun there. Of course, it doesn't have one. And again, this camouflage scheme is probably apocryphal, but I decided the base color for this is this kind of yellow, and I wanted to give it some visual interest. And this one is $114,000. This is the most expensive tank in the collection. Some more guns over here. And then this, of course, is the Tiger I. And this is the heaviest one. This one you'll notice has a gun, because I made a point to not remove it. And this one is not as valuable as the Panther, which surprises me, because I think Tigers are rarer. This one is $66,000. So that's the contents of the museum. You can customize the museum. I made the walls red because that's what I do. The floor, you can change it to several textures. I left it concrete because I chose a concrete setting because I thought that was appropriate for a bunch of heavy armored vehicles. You can also change the color of the I don't know what you call this, the metal framework. I think I made it green. I don't think that the space in here is well organized. I mean, the Panther and the Tiger look good there, but there could be another vehicle in between them. The Sherman is okay. The T-34 is in a good position here with its backing. This one I wish was different, because when you customize these, it actually customizes both sides of them. So all the Sherman information is on this sign, and I think it would be better if there was one above it, like that one there. And the Panzer IV is the same way. The Panzer IV has got this side and that side and this side over here. The one I like least is where the Pershing is. It's kind of stuck in, like it's been bad and stuck in a corner. You can't really see it. I think it should be facing. I wish you could position them. So I would at least turn it so that it's facing this way rather than against the wall. Plus the gun is kind of at a low angle. I would elevate that a bit, make it look more alive. This just looks droopy. This corner, I might move things around at some point, put something bigger over here in this corner. And the KV-2 is in a good position. I like it. I'll probably leave that where it is. I'm not sure where this developer is from, because I have noticed some text on some of these signs that kind of says Google Translate to me. Like here it says, "What is tank?" And there was some clumsy phraseology over here in the sign for the KV-2. It was only then did the state tests of tanks. That seems kind of odd, but it's fine. It doesn't affect the gameplay. I don't know if I mentioned it. When you start the game, when you first unlock the museum, you have 4 slots. You have these 4 slots here on this side, and then as you gain reputation, you can unlock the other side for 4 more slots. And when I upgraded it to the 8 slots, it became laggy. It wasn't laggy before, but when I unlocked the other side of the museum, it became laggy. So I think that probably some optimizations need to be done. And I'm going to go into the workshop, and I want to warn you that the loading screens are brutally long. I'm going to cut it out, but just be aware. Okay, here we are in the workshop. I have two tanks in here at the moment. One of them is ready for assembly. Actually, correction, I have three tanks in here. There's a Tiger over there. This one is a Panzer IV, which of course will be sold because I don't need to have two of them. The engine is over here on the stand, and the turret is over there on the turret stand. This one over here is a Panzer III, but this is a different variant. The Panzer IIIJ. I have an M outside, so I'm going to keep this one because I don't have both. I'm going to keep this one, and then of course there's the Tiger that's over here. It ended up in here. I don't know why the game put it here, but it did. And this one I'm going to sell when it's finished. The Tiger is complicated to assemble. Like all these road wheels you have to bolt in. And it's different for some of the different vehicles. It does things differently. I mentioned before that it is heavy on German tanks. Press T for tablet. Come over here to the part shop, and you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 vehicles in here. And German, 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 German. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 German tanks. Six German vehicles. There are 4 Russians, the KV-1, KV-2, 2 different T-34s. There are 3 American vehicles, the Sherman, the Pershing, and the Wolverine. The Stug-3 and the Wolverine are tank destroyers. This one is not a tank. This SDK-FZ, the German half-track, is not a tank. The Wolverine is kind of tank adjacent. It's a tank destroyer, though. It's not meant to face tanks head to head. It's meant to be sort of a fast ambusher. And in my personal collection, I have everything here except for the Wolverine and the half-track. And one of the things I wanted to mention is that you won't be able to have one of everything because you don't have space for everything unless you want to dedicate something inside your shop to carry the extra one. Because there are 8 slots in the museum and 4 parking slots outside, which is 12, and there are 13 vehicles. And you could conceivably leave one in here permanently, which would cut down on the amount of space you had to actually work on things. Let's go outside real quick. I want to show you what the parking looks like. So this is our yard, and when you put stuff in parking slots, this is where it ends up. And you have 4 slots to park things out here. This is the KV-1. No, I'm sorry, I lied. This is the T-34-76. This is the smaller T-34, relatively speaking. And this over here is the Panzer III-M. Has these side skirts on it. And this one wasn't. I did have this in the museum, and I took it out to put the Sherman in. And then the other tank that is out here in my storage is the KV-1 over here. And I kept it. Well, I wanted to keep at least one of each. Since I already have the KV-2 inside, I kept the KV-1 out here. I discovered this area separately. This is like a junkyard where you can buy junked things. I didn't understand what this was at first because you can't click on this or anything. This is, I think, a Panzer III. And then that over there, I think, is a KV-1, and that over there looks like that's a Sherman. You can't click on any of these things, but if you middle mouse button and go to tank analysis, or what the heck is it? And you'll see here, this one I can buy for $126. So this is kind of like buying stuff from the junkyard in Car Mechanic Simulator. And these things are really rough. They're missing like everything. The tanks that you collect from the outdoors tend to have a lot more stuff in them. What has this one got? This is a T-34? Yeah. Yeah, see, look at this. It's missing so much stuff. There's no tracks. The turret is nothing in the turret. $144 for that. Though these are probably really economical if you want to buy stuff to rebuild for sale, because they're so cheap, and the prices to buy parts is not that much. I think this might be a Panzer IV. Yep, it's a Panzer IV. $187. And it sells for like 63 grand, so that's not bad. I'm gonna have to try doing one of these one day. And let's go back inside. I want to quickly, since the Panzer IV that's in there is ready to be reassembled, we can knock that out fairly quickly. Okay, we're back inside, and actually what I want to do is show you my favorite thing. I want to mention a few things. When you first start playing the game, the tools that you use to work on things, like for instance, the way you fix things up is you use this thing to remove the rust, and then you use this thing to sand the part, and then you use this thing to prime it and paint it. And when you first start the game, these tools are laying on this table over here. You have to manually pick them up, use them, and then drop them and pick up the next one. As you accumulate reputation, which is skill points in here, you buy the skills. And this thing is a lot like Car Mechanic Simulator. And this right here is the tool belt. And once you get up to this point, all you have to do then is press the number keys on your keyboard to get the tools to come up. Now, getting reputation is really simple, probably simpler than they imagine, because ideally what you do is, I did this one already, yeah. What you do is you pick up these jobs. These are the customer jobs, and you would do this for renovate, and it uses the term renovation instead of restoration. But this would be like 48 reputation for doing this. 114 for this one, and those are both the same vehicle. Yep, they're both half tracks, T-34 and a Stug 3. 114 for that one, 115 for this one. So that's, you get reputation for that. But when the first vehicle, the KV2 that I rebuilt and put in the museum, it was in the museum by itself, just one vehicle. So I was charging $1 to get in. And I was getting like $76 each time this thing resets, which is every 9 minutes. Plus, you get reputation based on the number of vehicles in your museum. So I was racking up reputation, even with just one vehicle. I was racking up reputation like nobody's business. And now I'm up to 8, and 1,000 is the maximum level of reputation you can have. And all you really need to do to rack up reputation is to get 1 or 2 tanks in the museum, and you can kick back, walk away, leave the game running, and the reputation will build and build and build and build, and then you come back and buy all the skills, which is kind of what I did. And it makes the game much more enjoyable when you have the higher level skills, because at a low level, when you're shuffling around with little bits here and there, it really is tedious. There's no question about it. So this is what I've discovered I really enjoy doing. This here is a tank recovery mission. You can accept it. Come here to the organizer. Here's the active contract, and we can just start it. You have 2 vehicles you can use. It doesn't matter which one, because since I'll show you when we get there, there's no point in picking one or the other. Okay, here we are in the field. So there's a fenced-in area that's it's probably over there. I'm going to show you why it doesn't matter where you can drive. When you look at the tablet here, go to the map. So here is the search area where the tank supposedly is, and I have unlocked the drone with the skills. So you put in the ground penetrating radar mode, choose the drone, and then click. And you can't see the drone anywhere. It only exists in this map, because I looked all over to try to find it. There's something there, but you can't get it because it's not in the search area. And there's the tank. I usually just let this thing fly all the way over. So now that we've found the metal object, select dig, click here. It says, do you want to dig? I say yes. And you see here up there in the upper left corner where it says start the pump. That means it's in water, which is not a big deal. You just run over here, take a look in the hole, see if we can see anything. Can't see nothing. So we'll turn on the pump, and it'll start pumping the water out. I bet it's a Stug 3, because the hole is so we're not seeing anything yet, and the Stug is low. The Stug is low to the ground. So you come over here and you pick up your pressure washer, and you start hosing it off. And you watch that thing up there in the corner. And what you're looking for is 30% clean before apparently the guys driving the guys running the crane don't want to get their stuff dirty. So you need to get it at least 30% clean with the pressure washer before they'll pull it out. And we're beyond 30% now. A lot of times I like to get it as clean as I can, but it doesn't really matter per se once you get it back home and you start cleaning it up. Another thing I like to do, even though I don't really need to, is I come over here and put this back, and then you click on this and you tell it to put the tank on the trailer. And I could just go back to the workshop now, but I always kind of like to come over and take a look at the thing on the trailer. And it's early in the morning or something, so the sun is over there. And there she is. Nice looking nice looking Stug 3. So we can go back to the workshop now, and it's not going to go into the workshop. This thing is going to end up outside, which is fine. Okay, so the new tank that we just the new vehicle we just picked up is probably sitting outside. There's no room for it indoors. So what I would like to do is quickly assemble this thing. So I have all the parts for it all ready to go. So what you do is you middle mouse button and select assembly mode, and then it's got ghost images of everything. One thing you can do to make it easier is press I for like the interior view, and that makes it so that you can see stuff fairly easily on the interior. Now for the most part, what you're doing is just selecting things and right clicking, and that puts it in place. There are some things that you will have to bolt in, but for the most part, it's just, whoops, I meant to get that. For the most part, it's just, right click and wait for it to appear. I like to get the interior done, because once things are all in there, it does make things, once things are all in there, anything that you may have missed gets harder to spot. And there are ways to fix that. I'll show you when we get there. Let's see. I want to get that gearbox shaft. There are a couple of little bitty gearbox covers that fit on the inside that I honest to God don't know how to get them on before. Let's see, where is it? And I'm getting some outside things here too, which I didn't really want to do. It's going to make me, nope. I got that. But once all of this stuff is on, it's fairly easy then to stick in the turret and the engine, as you work from the inside out. I just find it easier to do it like this. That didn't go like I wanted it to. But you can stick things on. Like see this hose? There's a couple of hoses that are way down deep in here that are really easy to miss. And let's see what go. Oh yeah, that goes here. One of these vehicles, the engine hatches, you have to bolt them all down, and that's a little bit on the tedious side. Ammo boxes inside the hull here. There's a jack that goes on that mudguard, and an extinguisher over there. I think there's probably more stuff that goes in here that I'm missing. Let's go ahead and put this stuff on. Now this thing is going to require bolting, and this is where you have the impact wrench, and I find it easier to put the wrench at the back, to click on the back side of the bolt and drive it in, rather than doing it sideways, and you have to kind of inchworm the thing into place, and can be frustrating. This works out pretty easily. So we can put these on, and these things. See, most of this is just like, it's like pointing and clicking. There's a lot of stuff you just don't even need to worry about screwing in. When we get to the road wheels, the road wheel arms, there'll be more stuff that actually needs to be screwed on. I don't remember. I think this thing, yeah, this is going to require some bolts. But like that, you see that silhouette up there to the left? That's just a box that sits on the outside, and it just drops in. Do this other idler wheel. And those little cones sticking out, those are the mounts for the road wheels. So those are roll wheels rather, so those go in easy. Those just pop right on. We can go ahead and drop the engine in. And we'll put the turret on. It's looking more like a tank now. This is like the most bolts you have to deal with in this tank. I have that Tiger tank over there to restore, and it has like all the bolts. There's stuff that goes on the outside here. The front sprocket doesn't have as many bolts as the idler wheel did. It's got a hubcap. I think there's something that goes inside. Maybe that's a different model. So if you're concerned that you're missing something on the interior, So like the whole interior is 95%, so there's something missing in there that I haven't put on. And it's probably, and this is something I like, you can come in here, click extinguisher, and it takes you right to where it goes. Poof, just like that. And then you get back out, and you look at the tank analysis again. The interior is 100%, 94% on the exterior, fuel tank covers. So that's all that needs. So we can get those on. Oh, that's these right here. There's two of these. There's one here and one here. And for reasons I can't quite understand, it doesn't have you put the cap on the tank first. It has you put on the external cover and then put on the cap. We can throw these on, and these all just go on like boom, just like that. And we can stick on this track, and I think we can go all the way across the top at this point. So now we just need to install the row wheel arms, and this is where it's going to be 4 bolts a piece, and then each one of these has a wheel, or 2 wheels rather, and the wheels, all we need to do is click on each one. You see how what a pain in the butt that is? You just get behind them and drive it in like so. And I've noticed that whenever you click on something that you have to actually bolt down, it will shift the camera over toward it, and it'll wait. But it doesn't always make it obvious that that's what you need to do. So that's a little annoying. I thought that was all the road wheels, but no, there we go. So now we get the rest of the track on, and I think that after this all we will need to do is we'll need to duplicate this on the other side, and this will be close to being finished. That's not what I wanted. A little bit too far away. Yeah, okay, so the fuel system is missing something. Exhaust pipe and radiator cap, so where do those go? See, that pipe is hidden inside there. And the radiator cap is here. I don't know why it lets you put the covers on before installing those things. It would make more sense. It would make more sense to require you to put the cap on before it let you cover it over with the engine compartment cover. Once this side of the track is installed, this thing will be done, and we can go ahead and sell it. And I think it's like 64 grand. And again, this is the one that has the most bolts. And sometimes that thing is way more fiddly than it should be. I'm just holding down the right mouse button and moving this around from bolt to bolt. And we get our sprocket on. And the cap. So now we just need to do the road wheels on this side. Get the rest of the treads installed. The rest of the track, rather. And we will have built a tank. Okay, there she is, all finished. And it should be completely 100% now. So it does all, yep, it's all 100% across the board. All the interior pieces are done. It's all ready to go. It's $93,000, which is more than I expected. I'll go ahead and shoot that out the door. Poof. Now, the other thing you can do in this game is you can craft parts rather than buying them. Now, you have to have a blueprint to craft parts, and it costs a ridiculous amount of money to craft parts. I think these are for the T-34, and the system is super clunky. I have bought 2 blueprints. Yeah, these are the T-34 parts, and then I bought the blueprints for the Panzer IV. Okay, and here's the Panzer IV parts. It takes it a long time to actually bring these things up. I don't want to buy anything. But you can craft about half of the parts that you actually need to build a tank. So, because I counted like for the T7, keep wanting to say T72. I counted the parts for the T-34. There are 63 potential parts you can craft, but there's over 140 parts total if you just buy them. So I'm not sure that this is worth the effort. And you need crafting parts to make these things. I'm not sure where those come from either. So I don't know if this is really worth the time and effort to mess with. So that'll be it for this. I have 3 vehicles to work on here still. The Tiger I may not do in detail because it's really complicated. Of all the ones I've done, the Tiger tank was the most complicated one to work on. And I'm not really looking to do another one, at least not right away. Like, you see these mud guards, you have to bolt all of these on. And then all these wheels, you see those bolts, more bolts, more bolts. You really do have to bolt all this stuff on, and it's tedious. The Panzer III is fairly simple. I'll probably do that one because I want to show you what it looks like to clean things up and put them together again. But until that happens, we'll probably go ahead and do another one. I may not do a long series on this because it is kind of long and slow. But for that, for the time being, we'll go with what we have. And that's not really a very good view. This space is nice and spacious. It says here water jets can cause injury. I wonder if they intend to give you like a water jet thing to put in this space, because this platform makes no sense by itself. I got these stuck behind these barrels. I thought I was going to be stuck there for a minute. Oh, God. So, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. So, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I quite enjoyed playing. I have become quite enamored of this game. I've enjoyed playing it quite a bit, so I wanted to do at least some episodes on it, sort of explain what I've been doing rather than playing a lot of CMS lately. But there'll probably be some more of these. If you like it, let me know. If not, let me know. Either way is fine. I'll probably do some more. So, on that note, bye for now.